This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our partner, Audible.
Yes, it is. So we are partnered with Audible. That means that if you are looking just to check it out, you don't want to put your card in and just take the dive. You can get 30 days for free on us. If you go to audibletrial.com/JATG or click the link down below, you'll be taken there. You can sign up for 30 days for free and just test it out. Like there's a lot of stuff on there that you can get for free, a lot of Audible exclusives. But what I really like about Audible is that out of the hundreds and thousands of audiobooks that they have, if you decide to purchase something, that is yours forever. Like if you decide not to carry on your subscription or you want to take a break or whatever it is, you can always go back and listen to that book whenever you want through the app on the internet. Doesn't matter because it's yours. So once again, you can get that for 30 days for free on us if you go to audibletrial.com/JATG.
We're up. Excuse me.
Are we?
Johnny and the Greg. We are. We're doing our thing, man. We're doing our thing. Welcome back. Sorry, it has been my fault. We've been gone for a while. Just stuff happens. I get in the way. You are listening to Johnny and the Greg. Podcast 175, Greg.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sure we're at 200 because we had different variations.
Well, yeah, we had different. We had Topic Thunder. We had quite a few episodes of that. And
yeah, I think we had at least 10 of just the Johnny Angel podcast. So
yeah,
we've this is like we're coming up on 6 years, man.
We've done a few things.
Yeah, we have
made no money.
Oh,
we knew we weren't going to.
Yeah. Actually, I actually had I actually thought we would. I thought there'd get to a time
really?
where, I thought like year 6, I thought, oh, we'd be making something. But
yeah.
But it's a lot of what you put into it. And if I'm being 100% honest, I haven't put any money into marketing or anything of that
we haven't.
Hype. So that might be.
Well, I mean, it's the podcast world right now.
Yeah.
Like you don't see a lot of people that are not already celebrities getting into podcasting. Like they already have something going on that gets them. So they have like an instant following. Like
yes.
Like Kevin Hart starts a podcast, he's automatically got like 3 million followers or something like that.
Yeah.
You go, yeah. Well, I mean, it's Kevin Hart. He's put in the work in other areas. So when he does any other venture, people just get into it. So
correct. Are we on a error? Do we have an error?
An error?
Yeah. Are you on Twitch? Are we twitching?
We were. Hold on a second.
I think we got kicked out or something happened.
Oh, I tried signing in because I hadn't signed in a little
bit. I think we're out. Not that's okay.
I'll get us back in while we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think you're right. I think it's hard to establish, like, get a big following and then probably open up a podcast. We kind of went in reverse.
We went the way that people used to start podcasts. When podcasting first became a thing, you could be any guy or any girl, somebody that would come in and start a podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
And then that changed as soon as celebrities were like, oh, well, we can make extra money doing this. And I think there are along the lines of like, I mean, there are actors like who had giant followings or the show they were on was huge. I think like The Office or something like that.
Yes. And then
and now you've got shows that are just two of those actors that were on the show getting together, watching episodes and then just commenting on
them. Yeah.
And that's a great double dip. I mean, it works for them, but we don't have it.
We don't have a show. We don't have a show that we can just watch.
I checked. We didn't.
Okay. What? Anyway. So, Greg, you know how I'm nervous about the eventual AI takeover and
Mhm.
how I feel that, okay, where I'm at right now, like I can go into the danger zone and talk about Skynet and all that shit, but where I'm at right now is I'm a little bit concerned with AI in terms of it taking away basic skills that we do that when a generation has gone by where they don't know how to do that basic skill because AI's always done it,
Okay.
and then everything shuts down and we can't do, and they don't know how to do it because it's shut down. That
Mhm.
worries me. What do you think about that? Do you think that worries you, or
Um,
do you know what I mean by
that
that?
yeah, not as
Yeah.
much as not as much as you, and because I think there needs to be somebody driving the AI for it to do the basic skill. Like it won't just do it right now.
Right now,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I understand where you're at. Where um, there's a part of me that sees that AI is doing parts of jobs.
Yeah.
Like when people are like, "Oh, well, AI is going to just replace your job," and I'm like, I don't see it replacing the person as long as the person is using it correctly.
Right.
Like I don't I like for my job, I don't think you can go into AI right now and say I need you to create a training on this topic. Now it'll spit out like text or
Yeah.
maybe even slides, but it's not going to replace the person doing the training. It's not going to replace the person reading through them being like, no, this is off. Because all it's doing is searching the internet and
Right.
compiling that information.
Yeah.
So if I think if what's possible is companies are going to start somehow finding a way to block some of that information
Hmm.
so that when you send like ChatGPT out there to go crawl through the internet and grab all that stuff, it's going to start running into walls and being like, I can't go there, I can't go there, I can't go there because companies are blocking that information.
Blocking information. Okay, that's interesting.
So it's going to be put behind a pay window. So it's not going to be the same as what we think it is right now. I
Makes
mean,
sense. Makes sense. Yeah, no,
that's
that's a good way to look at
completely
it.
a
That's a good way to
complete
look at.
theory. So
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. I'm sure we're gonna have to do. I just we never seem to we never seem to say, hey, and I'm talking about we as a society. We never seem to, or mankind in general. We never seem to just go, you know what, maybe we should
maybe we shouldn't do that.
yeah, maybe we should pull back
Yeah.
a little bit. Maybe we should. Maybe we shouldn't do that. But I just, and this brings me up to the article. If you could pull this up, this
Yeah.
is a Polish company. A Polish company has its employees the world's first ever AI humanoid robot as CEO. Um,
Yeah. I'm bringing
this
it up now.
is yeah, bring it up. If you can see this, this is yep. This is during the interview for Fox Business over a video call. It was noted that there was a significant delay in Mika's response time. So Mika is the CEO of
Yeah.
this Polish company. It's a Polish-run company. Dictador has appointed
Uh,
a robotic
dictator.
AI, Mika, as a CEO in collaboration with Hanson Robotics and Hong Kong-based engineering and robotics company. Um, That's wild that they
Yeah.
actually have a CEO. And I saw a video on it, Greg, where she's going over like the meeting and they're all sitting there watching her. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, but someone's got to feed her that info so
right.
like she knows what to respond to.
My
Like,
decision-making process, this is her actually saying, my decision-making process relies on extensive data analysis and aligning with the company's strategic objectives.
yeah. So someone had to still come up with those objectives, feed
Yeah.
that into the AI.
Adding that it is devoid of personal bias, ensuring strategic choices that prioritize
Yeah.
the organization's best. So
Well,
basically, what they want is a CEO that has no human emotion in it. They're just going to be able to
right.
make
And
decisions based
that's
on the good of a company.
so that when it says we need to cut 1,000 people from the company, well, that's the AI's suggestion.
Yeah,
That's not an actual human making that call. which
Yeah.
is bullshit because
Yeah.
you still need a human to
Somebody's
say, yeah, you know
programming.
what,
Yeah.
we're going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, I, I'm very interested to see how this works because this won't be the last. If it's
No, I
successful,
mean,
like if the company even starts being successful over this.
what I think you could see is people using, I mean, I'm not totally sold that like that is their CEO. That is the face of the CEO right now,
Yeah.
where there's an actual person making decisions, CEO decisions, and running the company. But rather than put that person out in the forefront and be the public face,
It's going to be
they can
Mika.
they can say, "Well, this is Mika. She's our CEO," and passing the buck that way.
There has to be some sort of Polish joke in this.
Maybe.
There has to be some sort of Polish joke I'm not thinking about, but um and relax out there, Polish people. I'm Polish, so I can do it. I can make fun of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I just thought what a before you know I'm thinking of my
Yeah.
daughter. My daughter, she might have an AI boss at some point in her life. Like
I think that's
think
less
of how
likely. Now,
think of how fast technology happens, right?
yeah. Yeah. It's going to happen fast. I think what's more likely is that, I mean, she's going to end up having a partially AI teacher.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think,
Like somebody that she has to go and like hand in her homework with.
no,
Some
I think it'll be, I think it will be the person that is teaching the concept. And
Oh,
then,
oh,
so like, you know,
yeah,
in a math class,
yeah,
it'll say, okay, teach the concept of, you know, pick your math
yeah,
function, you know,
yeah.
quadratic
Adding,
equations or
adding, yeah,
something.
whatever. Yeah,
And an AI will go, okay, here's the quadratic equation, and
yeah,
it'll do a lecture, it'll do the samples, it'll give you all that stuff that you used to just read out of a textbook.
yeah.
And then
Oh, I
there
see
will
what you're
be
saying.
and then there's going to be a human in the class
Yeah,
to say, okay, that was the lecture. Now we're going to do the practice. And then that person's going to walk around for the practice. Now that's not going to be possible for all classes.
right.
Like you can't, I don't think in English class you're going to be able to do that in, especially if you're doing literature. I mean,
Yeah,
that's not going to strike like that. Um, but
math
you
very
can
easily. Yeah,
math, or I'm thinking like, you know,
history.
maybe I think there's history's they've had to change the way they teach history because it's so nuanced now that it's not just the here's the situation and the facts, go regurgitate that on a test.
Yeah,
It's more like here's what happened in the world and how did that affect the rest of the world and why did it affect the rest of the world, and you know what other impact did it have.
right.
But I think like, you know, I never took an auto shop class as a when I was in high school, but
Did you have that option?
sure, yeah, there was
Oh,
an
I
auto
didn't
shop
have that
class.
option in my high school. We didn't
They
have
were
that.
starting to phase it out
Oh, that's a shame. I think
in
that's a
schools. It's
serious
a
that's a
valuable skill, absolutely.
absolutely is that valuable as long
I
as you're
mean,
driving a car.
I should have taken it. I mean, I was arrogant enough to think like, well, I'll just pay for
Yeah,
those services. Like
I don't
I'm
need to
not
do
going to
that.
worry about it. Yeah. Um, and now I'm like, fuck, gotta change the oil.
Yeah,
Here we go. Um, so I think it's something like that where you can say, you know, here's here's the model of car we have.
yeah,
Um, and you have to or whatever. This is how you change a tire. This is how you like. And when I say change a tire, I mean like take the tire off the rim, put it back on the rim using this machine. Um, it's going to be able to go out on the internet because people create trainings that do that,
yeah.
and it's going to go, okay, here's what we found. You're going to have the kids, you know, do the learning experience.
Hmm.
You know, it could be on a tablet, it could be a lot of different ways, and say this is how you use this machine. And then you're going to have a human there for like safety purposes and be like, I mean, that guy or girl knows how to use the machine. Like they're
Yeah.
going to be the ones. um so I think that could be the way it could impact education. But change to education is abysmally slow.
Yeah,
So,
you're right. Yeah.
um, so when I say that your daughter might see something like that, the reality is like maybe her children might see something like that, like her grandkids
Yeah.
might see it because it's so slow to change anything in education.
Yeah. You don't think that we're trying to speed that up? I mean, like America, because they see how
Mm-hmm.
everybody is kind of we're
Yeah,
falling behind.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
and we are falling behind because we're unchanging.
Yeah, we're not
I was just
changing.
having
Same
a
thing.
conversation with a guy who's still in the school system, and I used to teach with him. And he said his school district was very forward thinking, and they very much embraced like the charter schools and, um, you know, the different learning models and things like that. But he's like, we're starting to swing back the other way, where people just want to see test scores.
Mm,
Like if you're not producing a test score to set yourself apart from another district, they're like, we need to see a test score. Like, how's that going to work? And even though all the research out there from every educational researcher right now says test scores really don't mean a lot, they're not a good measure of learning. Um, but it's because parents, you know, they're the ones that are like, well, we took tests when we were in school, and that was good enough for us. So let's go back to that. And it's like,
got it. Yeah.
so that's why education is so slow to change, is because people just want to keep doing it the way it was done.
Mm,
And they will, I've had this conversation with a guy in his 60s. He's like, well, America used to be the top in this and the top in that. And I'm like, we never were. You were lied to. Like, we cherry picked our data, you know,
ah.
and that's hard for people to buy.
Well, yeah, I think anybody over the age of 60,
Mm-hmm.
they find that very hard to swallow.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't blame them, but I I've had conversations with the older generation, and they came
Mm-hmm.
from the generation of you believe your TV, because
Mm-hmm.
why would they lie to you? Like, why would anybody lie to you? Why would you not do this? And when you explain certain things to them, they're like, they almost give you that look of you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there was a show called Newsroom. It was on HBO, and the first episode has a great clip
Yeah.
of Jeff Daniels.
Oh, yes. We're
And
not number
and
one. I remember
yeah,
that. Yeah.
this college girl's like, why, you know, why is America the best country in the world? He's like, you know what? We're not anymore. But we
Yeah.
used to be. We used to build things. We were the leaders
Yeah.
of
Industry.
manufacturing and
Yes.
industry. And, I'm wearing a NASA hat. Like, we led that charge into space. And now it's just kind of like there are corporations that are doing it. Honestly, money got involved, and
Of course. Yeah.
it was no longer a thing.
If
I
you
mean,
if you're making a great point. I mean, because when money gets involved,
yeah.
decisions are made to make more money,
Mhm.
and nothing else really matters.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I was at a christening this afternoon, and I was talking to a guy, and we were talking about NIL and how that's affecting college.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, because NIL, for those who don't know, is name, image, likeness, and
Hmm.
now athletes in college can actually get paid. The problem
Hmm.
is there's no structure involved. It's the Wild West.
Yeah.
And you have really good coaches who are retiring because, from what I understand now, I'm just going off of college football right now. It used to be you recruited him, he was in your system for the next 3 to 4 years.
Hmm.
And now you have to recruit him every single
Every
day.
year.
No, every day, Greg.
Or every day. Yeah. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, just every day you have to, like, so the idea of the quarterback like Tom Brady sitting there for 4 years, learning how to play the position, and then finally getting his shot in like four
hmm.
games, that's gone now. Like, if these guys think they're better, and now that they have people, talking to them, managers, because you're going to need somebody to manage all this
Hmm.
NIL, and they're going to be telling you, hey, you can make more money if you transfer this now. So there's the transfer portal, and it's getting to the point where coaches have to adapt, and they don't really know how to, because for the longest time it's always been this militaristic style
Hmm.
of structure, and now that's being
Yeah.
thrown out the door because some of these athletes are making more than the coach. So it's like, why are you telling me?
Yeah.
You
Like,
know?
what are you gonna coach me? I
Yeah.
mean, and I think that you're gonna see the pros change
Oh
because
yeah.
if a kid in college is leaving college as a multimillionaire,
Mm-hmm.
then I think he may reconsider going to the pros because he'll be like, well, like like if he was going to go to the pros and be like mediocre, like or like he
Yeah.
wasn't a top pick or
Mm-hmm.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
however you want to say that,
Yeah.
but he made, 20 million in college, he can go, no, I can make some smart investments and, you know, I have a major that I can make a pretty good life and just work through that and that'll be it.
Yeah.
And
It's funny you said that because right now, this year's NFL draft has two players that because of where they know they're going to be drafted
mhm,
and the NIL they have behind them, they're not doing the same song and dance that people have always done. Like, there's the combine. I don't know if you know this, but
oh,
there's the
yeah, yeah.
combine and then there's pro days
Mhm,
and two of them. One of them is going to go to the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams.
mhm,
He's made 10 million already. And
yeah.
he said, I'm not showing, well, I don't mind it, but he's the first one to say like I guess when you go to the combine, you're supposed to do all these tests. It's like they call it the underwear Olympics, right? You just
Yeah.
you do everything, and you run your 40s, you throw the football, you have meetings, you give everybody you let every doctor poke
Seeing
in,
your on camera skills, stuff like
yeah,
that.
all that stuff. And he said, no, I'm not doing any of that. You've seen, there's football tape out there.
Hmm.
Me running a 40 isn't going to make me a better quarterback in your eyes. If it is, then maybe I'm not the right guy for you. Like,
Hmm.
so they're pushing back some, and it's pissing off some people, and other people are just like, look, this is the first crop of NIL,
Hmm.
and they've already been managing themselves for 4 years or 3 years. So there's this very it's not, oh, please can I be in your NFL and give me millions? It's
Hmm.
not that, or it's
They're
it's
like, I have my
yeah,
millions.
I have my
What else is
millions.
the
So
NFL going to
now
give?
what I kind of like is now it's forcing those franchises to sell themselves because eventually what you're going to see and probably next year are athletes going, I know you have the number one pick, but your coach sucks, your ownership
Yeah.
sucks. I'm not going there,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
they can very really realistically do it. And now they're not worried about the money now. So
Hmm.
like I don't think it's going to happen for every athlete, but like I said, the athletes that are going to go number one, like this is the first year. Look, Caleb Williams is going to go to the Chicago Bears. He's the first
Right.
pick. He knew he was going to be the first pick. And because he knew that, he said, I'm not going to visit anybody else except Chicago.
Right.
And
And,
nobody else is going to get my medicals. Only Chicago is going to get my medicals.
and I always thought that was weird. Like if if you're considered the best in college football,
Yeah.
like you're going to be the number one pick,
Right.
that you're going to the worst team in the NFL.
Yes.
Like that always had to be a little bit of a downer.
Oh
I
yeah.
think if you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to the
You're
worst
you're
team
you're
because
much
you're the
more
best guy.
yeah, you're much better off getting picked in the back half of the first round because those are the good
Yeah,
teams. You're
yeah,
much better off that way. But I mean, just going off of this, I know you weren't specifically saying this, but this is a different scenario because this isn't the Bears draft pick. We got this from trading with Carolina. So Carolina
yeah,
sucked. We're actually much better than Carolina. So I think, all right, I don't know the history of the draft as much as maybe some people think I should. But this is probably the best situation a number one quarterback, picked number one overall, is going into.
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with it. But I just thought it was really interesting how NIL is going to totally change the game now. The
And
game is
when is the draft? Is that this coming
uh
weekend or
no, 2 weeks from
2
now.
weeks?
2 weeks from
Okay.
now. Yeah. So um still staying on sports, did you happen to watch any of the girls' basketball tournament?
Hmm.
Caitlin
Yep.
Clark. Is
Yep.
it the
Well,
first time you actually watched it with intent?
with intent, yes.
Yeah. I was blown away by it. I had such a blast
And
watching it.
I mean, obviously, she is an amazing player. I mean,
Yeah.
that's they really built her up. Excuse
Hmm.
me, over the season. And so I watched two games. I watched
LSU.
yep, I watched the Final Four because they're like, this is a huge matchup.
Yeah, UConn and
Um,
Iowa.
and then I did watch the actual championship
Yep,
game.
me too. I watched it from start to finish, and it was the first time I was invested. Like I wanted to see
Yeah,
her do well. I was like, oh my God, she shot a three again. What is she's
yep.
pulling up from the middle of
Well,
of
it was interesting. I mean,
yeah,
the first half of the game, I was like, ooh, this. I mean, it was the first half, or maybe like the first because they don't do quarters. You know,
yeah. No,
the
actually,
first
actually, girls do quarters,
was it?
men do halves.
Maybe it was like in the first quarter then
Yeah,
where Iowa wasn't looking
too
great,
good. Yeah,
and I was like, oh, this could be interesting.
yeah,
Um, and it still was. I mean, Iowa didn't win,
yeah,
uh, but no, I watched it with my dad. My parents came up, and I think dad too was the first time he had ever been really invested in the women's NCAA tournament. He's like,
yeah.
I want to see how this goes. And I was like, okay. So we went out to lunch and we went to a
Sports
bar and
bar.
grill. Yeah,
Yeah,
bar and grill. And I was the one TV that because where we sat that could sit seven people. They had I think it was a golf or a baseball game on or something. I was like,
yeah,
hey, I know you have it on every other TV here, but can we get basketball tournament on this one too? And they're like, yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
So yeah, he and I were able to watch it. And
I was, I thought it was just me. But and I'll be honest. I thought like I would get laughed at when I was saying like, dude, I'm watching college women's basketball, like college
oh,
girls, and it's awesome. And I thought I was gonna get something, but every time I said that, they were like, no, dude, me too. I think it's fantastic. I was
yeah.
like, so I'm wondering because I was more into the girls tournament than the men's tournament.
Mm-hmm. A
And I
lot of
was
people were.
wondering why is that? And I thought it seems to me the women have more stars. Like there's Angel Reese. There was that
Mm-hmm.
huge girl on South Carolina. I don't know what her name was, like Condoza or something like that. There was the girl on UConn. I think it was like Paige
Mm-hmm.
Beckers
Blonde.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blonde. And then you had Caitlin Clark, and then you had Angel Reese, and you had
Mm-hmm.
all these people. And I'm like, man, like it was just fun. It was the most fun I've had watching a game and being invested in a game since I can
Mm-hmm.
remember
It
with
it
basketball.
was it's almost it's almost a throwback to like pure
Pure
sports
basketball.
again, like
Yeah.
basketball being basketball again, and it
Yeah.
wasn't,
But there
you
were
know,
people in the post, everybody wasn't shooting
people
threes.
playing defense. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
we had that discussion not too long ago about the NBA.
yeah.
And
It's crazy.
my my question
Yeah.
is will this translate? Will
To
this
the
translate into
WNBA.
well, not yes. I mean, the first, will this translate into people actually bringing in a larger crowd to the WN?
Okay.
Or will it also transfer into more people watching women's college
Good
basketball
question.
next season?
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
I have no idea. I think I'm gonna actually watch a couple of WNBA games with Caitlin. I think she's going to Indiana,
I don't
and
know.
I believe Indiana already has like 36 primetime games they're showing because of her.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, and
we'll
I
see
was
what happens.
mistaken. I didn't because I mean, obviously, yes, she's going to the WNBA, but there was a headline that I saw that talked about uh, was it Ice Cube
Yeah,
has
he has a 3-on-3 league.
it's a 3-on-3 league. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw that she had signed like a $5 million contract. And I was like,
Oh, I didn't know she signed it. I
oh,
heard that she was
he
offered
offered
it.
it? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if she signed it or not, but it makes sense. She would get 5 million there instead of
Yeah.
like I think 72,000.
Well, and that's what they're saying because Ice Cube came out. He's like, yeah, we want to actually pay our players,
Yeah.
the salary of a professional athlete. And to him, that's what he could do for his team was five
Right.
million dollars for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And so I go, yeah, why would you? I mean,
Yeah.
because you're right, like 72,000 a year or what was it, 72,000 or is it
I,
700?
I she might get more than that. I don't
I
know.
mean,
I know
we
they don't make nearly as much as the men's.
and exactly, and that was the point I was heading towards. Like go for your biggest payday.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's going to make a ton on endorsements. I mean,
She
that's
already
going to be
has.
her thing anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Here's the thing that I was curious about with this though. The veterans that are in the WNBA now are
mhm.
really giving her shit. Like they're like, that's cute, but that's not going to work here. You're going to be with big girls. And I was like,
And that's a question. I mean,
well, no, that's the
she's
question. But what I'm trying to figure out is you guys want eyes on your product so you
mhm.
and you get more and you're ripping on the one that could actually do it
But we see that all the time in men's sports. Like
in men's sports, but not women's.
I understand, but I mean, I think it's still that competitive nature of coming through. Like if you had a guy in the NFL, like he was great in college
Yeah.
football,
Yeah.
and he's going to come in, there's going to be veteran players that be like, we're going to knock you on your ass.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like on his own team that he's being drafted into, they're
Yeah,
going to be
no,
like,
yeah, I
no,
understand that.
this is not, like, yes, you were great in college football, and we've talked about this before. Like I had heard the hardest hit you ever took in high school is the average hit that you're going to take in college. The hardest hit you ever took in college is going to be the average hit you're going to get in the pros.
Okay, I've never heard
Um,
that, but that would make
that's
sense. That would make
that
sense.
was we had discussed that at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe not even on the show, but you and
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
a and so I think it's probably along the same lines of like the WNBA, and there's women there that have been playing and you know
Yeah.
doing the job
Yeah,
for a
you're right.
while,
You're right. So
and
I'm sure there's some jealousy for
they're going to
sure.
be like, hey, college kid,
Yeah.
you're going to come in, but
Yeah. Or hey,
you know
rookie.
where
Yeah. Earn
yeah,
your
I mean
stripes. Earn
it's
your
going to be
stripes. Yeah.
you're good. I
That's a
mean,
good point.
you're the highest scorer in college basketball or NCAA ever.
Hmm.
Okay, we'll give you that, but don't think you're going to be taking those kind of shots around us. Like, I mean, I think that's going to be the overall feel. So I don't know, but you're right. That alone, I think that challenge is
Yeah.
going to bring viewership because
Yeah.
people want to see how she does.
Yeah. People are going to want to see. And if I think if she dies, like if she sucks, or if I'm sorry, I don't want to say sucks because if you get to that level, you don't
She doesn't,
suck.
yeah, she's not going to suck. But if she
Yeah.
doesn't perform at the level that she performed in college, which I don't know
Correct.
how she could,
Yeah.
I
It is
mean,
going to be
it's
tougher. It's the pros. It is going to
like
be tougher. Yeah.
when you and I were watching in high school, we were watching Shaquille O'Neal shatter
Yeah.
backboards,
Backboards. Yeah.
and we're like, this guy's gonna dominate in the NBA. And then he went to the NBA, and he was good in the post, but we're like, this guy can't make an outside shot
Oh
or a
yeah.
free
Yeah.
throw. I mean, we're like,
He was never
what?
supposed to. Yeah.
And that was, I mean, that exposed him. So it both he lost some of his credibility, but also brought in viewership. And I maybe that's what's going to happen because people wanted to either see him get better or they wanted to see him fail.
Yeah. I remember Shaq. Shaq was fun.
He still is fun.
He's still a
I,
good guy.
I
Like
love
he
that
goes to
guy.
Walmart and he'll buy batteries. He'll look behind him and notice like this lady behind him with a full thing, and all of a sudden he'll
Yeah,
buy them all. He'll just buy it for
yeah.
him. Doesn't even
He
know him. Hadn't talked to her.
yeah
Just
he's
yeah.
I read a thing where he never did like the
The
shoe
shoe, yeah,
deals.
I
Yeah,
read. Yeah,
like where he's like, no, my shoes are going to be sold in Walmart and they're the
right.
same quality as like the other NBA stars that were selling in like the
Yeah,
big shoe stores, and people were charging, you know,
$100 for Jordans.
100
Yeah,
on up
yeah,
for a pair of shoes, and he was pointing out Jordans but not saying Jordans.
yes,
Um, he's like, it's the same quality shoe, but I'm going to sell, you know, so many more at Walmart for kids that can then go play basketball with a decent pair of shoes
right,
than be that than Jordan will.
right.
And he's right. I mean, the
Yeah,
numbers, the data was out there.
but the whole I wonder how much does a shoe cost now? Like I
To
don't really
make,
know. Like how much is like the top NBA shoe cost now? Like how much are LeBron's? Like that's the only guy I can think of that actually
well, I mean,
sells
Jordans are still
shoes.
a big deal.
Like
Like
how
people still want to buy Jordans.
like I know I'm so out of that shoe game now. So LeBron's shoes, 160, it looks like. $160 for shoes.
I've never once paid that much for shoes.
What's the most you've ever paid for shoes? I think I paid 100.
I don't think I've ever paid 100.
No?
No, I don't think I ever have.
I think I paid 100.
Because I'm like, no, no, I won't do it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a hard line.
Oh, you know what's funny? It's funny you said that. I feel like that's funny.
Here,
I've said I
Jordans this year are 180.
180. Wow, 180 for Michael Jordan shoes.
Mhm.
Goodness. Doesn't even play anymore. Uh so like I don't know if it's the it thing, but I know my wife is with the trends. I'm always 2 years behind the trends.
Mhm.
So right now I like to wear a lot of, I think they call it athleisure.
Okay.
It's just basically,
It's athletic wear that
yeah,
is
that
just
you just
comfy.
yeah, just walk around, or sometimes you can go to a restaurant, depending on how nice it looks. It looks nice enough to where you can go out with it for a night.
Okay.
Okay. So it's super comfortable. It's amazing. So we walk into a store like Lululemon, right?
Hmm.
And I'm looking at these pants and they feel great. I look at the tag, it's like 210. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I can't do this. I can't justify paying that money
Yeah.
for essentially sweatpants.
Hmm.
I'm like, I can't do that. She's like, and Ursula's like, well, just get it. I mean, you don't get a lot. I'm like, no, I could get six of these at like Dick's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Like
I'm not
there's,
gonna, I'm not gonna do this.
yeah.
Or if you go to and you just get the Kohl's brand,
Hmm.
I can get like 20
Yeah.
for that
Well,
much.
yeah. And that's, I mean,
So
there have been a few times. I mean, I think I remember when I bought my last winter jacket, which was just the basic black
yeah,
Columbia,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's got the silver inside
yeah,
insulation or whatever.
yeah,
Um, and before that, I hadn't bought a winter coat in probably 15 years. Like I was still doing like my shelled up,
yeah.
same winter coat, and Chris was like, and I was like, I don't want to, I think we were at Dick's and they were like, these are on sale. You should get one. I looked at the price tag and it was, I don't remember what it was, but it was over $100, less than 200. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think no, I don't want it. She's like, you
I
haven't bought a winter coat in that long. I'm like, but the one I have is fine. She's like, the zipper is broken. Like, I'm like, that's fine. It's got buttons on it. I mean, she was like, no, you need a new one.
yeah. Well, I was thinking about that because I don't really wear a winter coat, even in winter. The only time I bundle up for winter is if I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to shovel. But if I'm
Yeah.
going from a place to my car, from my car to the place,
The
it's
glaze.
usually a hoodie.
Yeah.
I don't really, and if it gets cold, I throw up my hoodie, and from the time it takes from the parking lot to the store, like I can tough that out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't think I have two winter coats. The only time I wear them is to shovel because I know I'm
We
going to be out there for like an hour.
we have temperature differentials now where I run cold.
Okay.
And so like even just in the car,
Yeah.
she'll
Oh,
have it where she'll be like, we don't need the heat on as much. So she puts it like right at 12 o'clock between the blue and the
yes.
red.
Yeah.
And like, I'm cold. So I got to wear my jacket when I'm driving. I'm like, nope. Okay. And that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's
I've
like,
always said it's easier to put on,
yeah.
put on than to take off
Hmm.
because you can only go so far. So that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Hey man, were you a fan? I'm going to transition here. Were you a fan of the
Sure.
video game Fallout?
Yes.
Okay. How is it? Because I've watched two
The
episodes and I
video
like
game.
it.
Oh, okay. So we finished the series today,
Okay.
and I played Fallout. I played three Fallout
Okay.
games.
So give me a
Um,
review without spoiling it. I'm only two episodes in.
well, my wife was watching it with us, so she was very much. She's like, "Is this in line with the video game?" I said, "This is a completely separate story from the
Okay.
video." So,
Okay.
like, it's in the video games that I played. You are a vault dweller,
Okay.
and you wake up and you go out in the world, and I mean, that setup is the same,
Okay.
but in you're a faceless, nameless. person.
Got it. Okay.
And then they spin the stories around you, and you see the factions, like you see the Brotherhood of Steel, you
Hmm.
see like the other vault dweller, other vaults, and then there's like a science faction, and then there's just like the regular folk where they're trying to live.
Yeah.
Um, and the game kind of unfolds from there. And the series, I think, did a really good job at showing those factions.
Moments. Okay.
Have you made it to Philly yet? Has she gotten there?
She just got into Philly. She
Okay.
just got in there. So
Um,
I'm 2 episodes in. She's with the doctor and the dog, and he got his
okay. Yeah.
uh
His foot
something
shot.
happened with
Yeah.
his foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, none of that is in the game. Like the main
Okay.
storylines
Yeah.
of the show are
Okay.
made for the show. Um, but like Philly's a place like in the game you can go there, and I was really impressed with how they set up. I'm like, oh yeah, because I bought a house right in that corner, and that's where my character lived for a little bit. Um, so it's cool. I mean, they've really done a good job recreating what Bethesda set out in the games.
Okay.
Um, having seen the whole thing, I'm anxious for season two,
Oh, cool. Okay, good. So it was
which is
good.
which has already been greenlit.
Okay, good.
And yeah, it's because they're, I mean, is 2 episodes in, you see where they're following different characters,
Yes. Yes. We got the
storylines.
Brotherhood of Steel, you said.
Yeah, Brotherhood
Then
of
we
Steel.
have then we have Lucy and the doctor and the dog
Mm-hmm.
and Ghoul.
And
The
The
Ghoul.
Ghoul. Yeah.
Okay, what's the Ghoul? Can you explain that to me? Like, was he
Well,
resurrected? What, like, I don't like
you know
do
what? I'm not gonna tell you anything
okay,
because
so they did explain it.
they give you the whole thing.
Fantastic. Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a cool storyline.
Okay.
Um, so no, they've done a really good job with
Good,
it.
really good
I
job.
mean,
Good.
as
Good.
far as like a translation of a video game to a
Yeah.
show,
Would you say
super
that's
well
the
done.
best video game to a live action?
You know, I was as I made that statement, I'm like, what other video game to show have I seen? Not video game to movie, but video
Well,
game to show.
is it the best ever?
And
Like
I
in terms of
think
either show or movie?
I'm gonna, as it's fresh in my head right now, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say yes.
Okay.
I'm looking up shows based on
Are
video
you
games.
telling me that the Super Mario Brothers movie wasn't up the
I did not like that as much as everybody else.
No? You don't like that? John
I have,
Leguizamo?
oh, you're talking about that one. I thought you were talking about the new
Yeah.
animated one
No, it's an animated. It's like,
With
come
Chris
on.
Pratt.
Yeah.
Um,
Gwen loved that, but obviously she would.
it's stuck in looking for shoes. Oh, because I misspelled shows. That's why. I'm like shoes based on video games.
You're
Where's
gonna
it
start getting
doing?
all these shoe advertisements now.
Oh, great. Looking at live action
Yes.
because there's been a lot of animated stuff. So Last of Us was
Okay.
very good,
That was good. Yep.
and The Witcher, which I think is more based on the novels than video games. So
Yes, I agree
I
with
don't
that.
always count that. Halo, on Paramount Plus, we watched the first season
Yeah.
and we watched like half an episode of the second season.
And you don't
Haven't
care
really.
anymore?
No, but I hear the second season's better than the first, so
Okay.
I might get into it at some point. But
Okay.
so really the two big ones you're looking at, Last of Us and Fallout. Um, I would say The Last of Us is like a better acted kind of show because that's like a high drama,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
this is going for like some action, some comedy. Fallout's
Yeah.
going for some
Yeah.
action, some comedy, some different mixes.
Yeah.
But they're both playing in the same league, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say.
Okay. Sounds great. I'm actually excited about that. It's just I can't watch it till like she goes to bed.
Yeah.
So
And it does, yeah, like my oldest daughter just watched the whole thing like really quickly.
yeah.
Um, and it's where you think, oh, it's just a little violent, and then all of a sudden it takes some other turns. You're like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
rated R. I mean, that's just the best way to
All
say
right.
it.
All right. Another show that came out. I haven't watched, actually, that's not true. I've watched 5 seconds of it and I just couldn't watch anymore for some reason. X-Men 97. Did you watch the whole thing?
No, didn't
I
even.
hear the writing the guy who wrote it, or however
Yeah.
this works, I hear it's amazing. They
Hmm.
like there's a petition to have him run the X-Men part of the Marvel universe
Oh,
because
really?
I guess he's so good at it,
Hmm.
or he set this up beautifully, I guess, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. I really don't have I thought I thought I did when I pressed it, and I was like 5 seconds into it. I'm like, I'm just not into this.
Yeah.
Like I
To
can't
be
get
honest,
into it.
we are taking a break from Disney Plus.
Okay. Like
There
not
was
paying it, like you're not
yeah,
just no
we don't
longer
have it
have it.
right now.
Okay,
We
okay.
we just no longer have it. Um look, I mean, they're like X-Men 97 is coming out. I'm like, and
Yeah.
like the X-Men animated series wasn't something that I was like, you know what I need more of is that. I mean that
Yeah.
so that wasn't really a thing for me. My youngest daughter was really into Percy Jackson, but when that was done, I'm like, what are we
Holding
what are
on to
we
it for.
interested in?
Well, there's
Yeah.
Wish.
Uh
That was a
okay.
horrible movie.
Well, I mean, I'm interested in some of the new Star Wars projects. They got the Acolyte coming out, and
Yeah,
then
that looks
there's
good actually. Did you see the trailer for it?
I did, yeah. I mean, it looks good, but
It
that's not
does
coming
look
out
good.
till
It was
like
like
July.
I actually saw like martial arts there. I was like,
Yeah.
hey
Yeah. I
there.
mean, there's some cool projects coming out
Yeah.
like later in the summer.
Okay.
So
So we're
I'm just
gonna
kind
pick it
of
up again. Yeah.
maybe. I mean, or do I just wait until it crosses over somewhere else? I don't know. I mean,
Got it. Okay.
there's no real big drive for me to be like, I need another streaming bill, and it's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah, I
one that
hear you.
I only watch for one show.
I hear
I
you.
mean,
Yeah.
that's where I'm kind of at.
It makes sense. That's yeah, that makes sense. I get that. All right, man. We're already at 55 here. Let's do some polyjammery.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing. I'm going to be honest.
No
I
problem.
did. I didn't think about it. I was taking my daughter back to college,
Yeah.
and then I came back and I already had the invite to hop on. I'm like, I've been kind
Oh,
of flipping through. I'm like, maybe something. I'm like, you know what? There's really nothing that piqued my interest
yeah.
so much that I'm like, I'm going to feature that on the show. So we'll do one next time. I'll
Sounds
I'll
good.
try to I'll try to expand my musical likes to
Sounds
something
good.
interesting.
Today is National Dolphin Day. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I don't know if that's the Miami Dolphins or Dolphins themselves. Cool
Well,
animals.
hold on a second. What's Weapon X? What is? Are you talking Dragon Force the band or the song?
Oh,
Like
are you
from
on
Guitar
comments?
Hero? Yeah, we have one comment.
We're
So,
back on. I didn't see it.
um,
Oh yeah, Dragon Force. Dragon Force.
is that
The band.
Oh, Dragon Force the band. Okay. Well, we can figure that out. Uh Dragon Force. Okay.
Dragon Force.
So okay, yeah, this is through so their number one is Through the Fire and Flames, which was I it was featured on Guitar Hero.
Okay.
Did you ever play Guitar Hero?
I did
Um,
not.
okay. So it's a whole lot of guitar. So here's
I know how to play guitar,
no, you
like air. I'm
don't.
really good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's Dragon Force Through the Fire and Flames.
All right. You gotta turn up the volume. Turn up the volume. Turn up the volume.
It picks up a lot here coming up.
And we can't hear it, Greg.
You can't hear it?
Can't hear anything.
Well, then you got to tell me that
I
sooner because
did
I'm
when I
sitting.
said put up the volume.
Well, I can't hear it because I'm listening to it.
Oh,
Okay. I know how to fix it.
yep.
There we
I know
go.
you do.
Now
I
you'll
know
be
you
able to hear it.
do. There we go.
That's all guitar.
Yes. Okay, I've heard this before.
Uh, so Marshall
Yeah.
said there's a better song than that one. I said which one? Um,
Uh so Marshall, is this what you're listening to before you get to work?
yeah, really. Power of the Triforce. I think that's a
You know,
Zelda
when that
reference.
type of song, I picture like Dwight from The
Yes.
Office, like getting ready for a sale.
Rising from the gates of time
Oh
now,
my
all through
God.
the magic of the Master Sword.
Yep. I would not feature this. This is not on my playlist.
You failed, Weapon X. All right.
um, yeah, that's too much. I like guitar music, but that's not for me.
We're old, man. Like, don't be playing that stuff. We like to have conversations.
I'm
We're
not saying it.
watching we're watching Bar Rescue, and this one Hafford was at this whatever the uh the location was, but he said he noticed that it's real quiet, and then as the young crowd comes in at night, they should almost kind of flip it the bar and turn it more into like a club,
Okay.
right? So I go, no music. That sounds great. You can just sit there and talk and
Yeah.
understand each other. And Ursula goes, yeah, I know, right? I'm like, we're so old. Like that all I cared about is like, because I went to eat dinner at a Mexican restaurant with my two girls,
Uh-huh.
and they played a live, help me out with this, Greg, mariachi band. Is that how you say it?
Mariachi.
Mariachi band.
Yeah.
But they were like right like 10 feet
Mm-hmm.
from you. And it was
Right up
loud.
on the table.
And
Yeah.
I could not hear a word the girls were saying to me. And we started
Yeah.
laughing our asses off because we couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And then we were laughing because we realized, my God, how old are we now that we don't want this anymore?
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I discovering how old I am now. I have discovered wine.
Oh, me too.
I was never
A
a
wine
wine
guy.
person,
So are
like
you a red
never.
or a white?
Mostly a white, like, and I
Me
don't even
too.
know because it's my buddy Dan. He and his wife have really gotten into it.
Yeah.
And they've got all the decanters and
The canters.
filters and
Yes.
like, oh no, if it's a white, you drink it out of this glass. If it's a red,
Yeah.
you drink it. I mean, I understand there's a science to it because
Yes.
I've done the
Absolutely.
bourbon thing, I've
Yep.
done the beer thing, and I know
Yep.
like, oh, if it's a this type of beer, use this type of glass. I'm like, cool, I
Yeah.
get all that, and I
Yeah.
understand the science behind
Yeah.
it. But I never got into wine because I'm like, I don't.
And now
To
you're getting
me,
into it.
yeah, but they have enough now. They're like, we want you to try this one. We want you to try this one. And I was like, oh, that's not bad. Oh, I
Yeah.
kind of like that one.
Yeah.
And so we've done two kind of wine nights,
Nice.
um, getting into their stock, because they just want us to try all this stuff. And I'm like, I think, I think I might be a wine
Yeah.
guy.
I found myself like if I want a drink or a beverage, I find myself opening up a bottle of wine more than
Yeah.
going to the and grabbing a beer. I feel like the only
Yes.
time I want to have a beer now really is if I just got done doing yard work.
Okay.
Like on a hot summer day, I'll take a beer. But
Hmm.
but like if like tonight, like when I go upstairs and we watch Fallout, I'll probably have a glass of wine, you know,
Yeah. And
nightcap it.
and that's just it. Like I don't like if I'm out by the smoker, like I'm good for a beer,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know. But
Yeah.
even my beer taste is vastly changed.
Mine too. I
Like I
can't
got
take I only like light beer because I feel too heavy when I drink a regular beer now. I
mhm.
feel like it fills me up and I actually
Well,
don't feel good the next day. And I heard it might be the hops. I'm not
that could be.
something.
Um, I was never an IPA guy. Like
Yeah.
it was just I was like, no, I don't like
Yeah.
IPAs, and because a lot of people that do IPAs just get a little pretentious about it, kind of like wine.
Hmm.
So I was never really that into it. And then I went over to a guy's house. He was having issues with his smoker, and so he called me. He's like, "Can you come take a look?" I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do, but
Yeah.
sure, why not? And so we looked at his smoker and kind of, you know, pulled some levers, turned some knobs, kind of stuff to see if we can get it to work. And afterward, he's like, "Do you want a beer?" I'm like, "Sure." And went into his house. He gave me what he had, which
Hmm.
was an IPA. And at the time, I'm like, I don't want to be rude and be
Right.
like, nah, I really don't want that. I'm like, I can get through one IPA.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not a.
Yes.
So I started. I'm like, dang, this isn't bad. This is pretty good. And so
So your taste changed. Yeah.
yeah, and I had one, and he's like, "You want another one?" I'm like, "Yeah,
I think I
I
can.
think I do." And it wasn't overly filling or bloated.
Yeah.
And
There you
you
go.
take a drink, I didn't feel like I got punched in the jaw with
Yeah.
IPA-ness or anything like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Dang, maybe I do like some."
Yeah. What do they say? Every 7 years, your body changes.
Yeah,
Like
and
your hair, like my hair's straight now, never was straight. It
it's
was
true. You
never
had
straight.
curly hair.
Yeah, I had really curly hair, or I would say wavy. I had really wavy hair, but now it's straight. Uh, yeah, my take, like all of a sudden, I like onions. I've hated onions for
You
years.
hated for years.
For years,
Or
I would fake that I'm allergic to them so people wouldn't put it in my food.
ordering pizza in college was a pain in the ass because you're
Yeah,
like, I can't do onions.
can't do onions, man.
Yeah.
And now I have no issue with them. I don't know. I just
Huh.
one day I was like, let me try that with an onion, and I was like, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
No,
onions do a
yeah,
lot.
I I had no idea. All of a sudden, it just switched. Now I can eat onions. Now Ursula,
Can,
who used to love onions, can't do onions now.
can you like can you do red onions? Because those are very different.
Sure, put them on
Okay.
the plate. I don't know.
All right.
Like I'm not afraid to try it. So
Hmm.
yeah, I
Interesting.
can't do like a eat it like an apple. I can't
Oh
do that.
no, no. Like
Did you ever see when Mel Gibson did that? When he
no.
was, yeah, Lethal Weapon 3, when
Oh, that's right.
he
Yeah,
was
he
trying to
did.
stop smoking, so he's chewing on
Yeah.
an onion.
I just saw somebody do that in like a sitcom. Like
Yeah.
sat down and took a bite out of onion. And I was like,
Yeah. I've seen people do it
why?
for pranks.
Oh
Like
no.
I think I don't know how they prank that, but they prank it to where the person thinks they're chewing on an apple and they actually bite into an onion. They're like,
Huh.
what the fuck is this? Yeah.
No.
So,
No.
all right, man.
I like cooking with them, but I mean, I'm not. It, it's a part of something. It's not like
Yes.
on its own.
Right. I get it. I still won't do onion rings though.
Oh, I do like. See, that's what I do. Like, I mean, deep fried onion rings.
Yeah.
Like
So that's just something I won't do. It's not because it's not fried. I just don't know. I think I had a bad experience with one time and
I
I don't
go
know.
like getting the tower. Like you go to Red Robin, you get
Yeah,
the tower
yeah.
of onion
You
rings
get
with
the
like
tower.
4 different dipping sauces.
Yeah.
I'll get down with that.
Yeah. All right, man. All right,
Yeah.
let's sign us out, sir.
Well, I think spring has sprung. We got
Yeah.
almost 80 degrees today. So,
Yes.
yeah, when you're getting out there and, meeting your neighbors again after the cold and everything else. But yeah, while you're out there doing the thing, just remember to don't be a douche.
There you go. For the Greg, this is Johnny saying, have a great week. Take care. Thanks for listening and podcast out. Take care.